这个故事如果你听起来不累，那么你的听力水平在生活中是完全够用的。要持续提升英文，记得点击订阅按钮。我们开始吧。
The same blade that guards your chest can slide back and find your heart. Long before the phrase lived in speech, it lived in iron. In the ancient world, when walls were low and roads were rough, a sword was more than a tool. It was a line between fear and hope. A farmer could become a soldier in a single season. A quiet town could turn into smoke in a single night. In that world, the shape of a blade mattered. Early swords were often sharp on one side. They could slash hard, but they had limits. Then metal workers in places like Greece and Rome began shaping blades with two sharp edges. It took skill. The iron had to be heated until it glowed like the sun at dusk. It had to be hammered again and again. Sparks flew. Arms grew sore. If the heat was wrong, the blade would crack. If the hammer fell too hard, it would bend. When done well, the result was a double-edged sword, sharp on both sides, ready to cut no matter which way it moved. On the battlefield, that detail changed lives. Picture a tight line of soldiers, shields pressed close, breath loud behind wood and bronze. There was no space for wide swings. A fighter might stab forward, then pull back fast. With a double-edged blade, the pull itself could wound. An enemy rushing in could be cut without a full turn of the wrist. In the crush of bodies, where one slip meant death, that second edge was deadly. Yet danger lived in that second edge too. A young recruit once learned this the hard way. He had trained for months in a dusty yard. He felt strong. He felt ready. When the real fight came, noise swallowed his thoughts. He pushed forward and struck. His blade met another. The shock ran up his arm. He yanked it back in panic, not in control. The back edge sliced across his own thigh. The wound was not deep, but the pain stole his balance. He fell. In war, a fall can be the end. He survived, but he carried a scar for life. The weapon that gave him power had also drawn his blood. Stories like that moved from campfires to books. Writers began to see that the blade stood for more than steel. In early religious texts, words were called sharper than a double-edged sword. A kind sentence could lift a tired heart. A cruel one could cut deeper than iron. Truth could set a person free from lies. The same truth could tear down pride and break trust. Language itself carried two edges. As centuries passed, the image grew stronger. In medieval towns, blacksmith shops were loud from dawn to dark. Boys watched their fathers shape weapons for knights and guards. One winter in a cold stone village, a smith worked on a fine double-edged sword ordered by a wealthy landowner. His daughter often sat nearby, reading scraps of old pages she found in the market. She listened to the ring of hammer on steel. One evening, when the blade was almost done, the smith tested its balance. He held it flat on his palm. It rested steady, like a calm thought. His daughter asked why both sides had to be sharp. He told her that in close battle, a fighter does not have time to turn the blade. He said a sword with two edges can strike in more ways. She asked if that made it better. He paused. The fire popped. He said it made it stronger, but also less forgiving. It gives and it takes, he said. She touched the dull center, careful to avoid the edges. She understood more than he knew. Years later, that same village faced a raid. The landowner who had bought the sword rode out with his men. The double-edged blade flashed under gray clouds. In the fight, it saved him more than once. He cut forward, then back, keeping attackers away. But when his horse stumbled in mud, he fell. In the chaos, he tried to rise too fast. His own blade, still sharp on both sides, nicked his shoulder as he pushed up. The wound was small, yet it slowed him. He survived, but the mark stayed. Strength and risk had traveled together. By the 1600s, English writers used the term in a wider sense. Trade ships crossed oceans, carrying silk, sugar, and silver. Ports grew rich. Tall houses rose along the docks. At the same time, storms sank ships without warning. Sailors vanished. Families waited at shorelines that stayed empty. Wealth flowed in. Grief flowed in with it. A merchant might call ocean trade a double-edged sword. It fed the city and filled its graveyard. During the age of machines, the phrase found new life. Factories rose near rivers. Water wheels turned. Later, steam engines roared. Cloth that once took days to weave could be made in hours. Prices fell. Poor families could buy warm coats. That was one edge. The other edge cut quietly. Children worked long shifts in air thick with dust. Small fingers reached into tight gears to clear jams. Sometimes the gears did not stop in time. A mother might hold a coat made in the factory and think of the cost behind its threads. Progress built cities and broke bodies. A teacher in a growing industrial town once tried to explain this to his students. He held up a simple knife from his desk. He showed them the sharp edge and the dull spine. Then he asked them to imagine if both sides were sharp. He told them that new machines were like that. They could cut work in half and cut jobs in half as well. The class was quiet. One boy, whose father had lost his job to a faster loom, looked down at his hands. The idea was no longer just words. The phrase stayed alive because each new age proved it again. Electricity lit streets at night. Crime fell in bright areas. Homes felt safer. At the same time, wires sparked fires when poorly set. New power brought new risks. Cars replaced horses. Travel grew fast and wide. Roads filled with speed. With speed came crashes that shocked small towns. The gift and the cost rode in the same seat. In the modern world, the double-edged sword lives in quiet ways. A small screen connects you to friends across oceans. You can learn a new word, hear a new song, see a new place in seconds. You can share your thoughts with more people than a town square could hold. That is one edge. The other edge slips in softly. Hours pass without notice. Sleep grows thin. Harsh comments cut into your mood. You compare your daily life to bright images shaped by filters and careful angles. The tool that links you can also leave you feeling alone. Consider a young artist who shares her drawings online. At first, only a few people see them. Then one post spreads fast. Messages pour in. Many praise her work. She feels seen. She feels proud. Then a few harsh words appear. They question her skill. They mock her style. The praise lifted her high. The criticism hits just as hard. She learns that attention itself is a double-edged sword. It can warm like sunlight and burn like fire. Even courage carries two sides. A man who speaks up against unfair treatment at work may protect others. He may also risk his job. Silence can keep him safe and leave harm untouched. Speech can push for change and bring trouble to his door. Each choice has weight. The reason the image endures is simple. You can see it. You can almost feel the cold metal in your hand. Two bright lines run along its length. There's no safe side to grab without care. Power demands balance. Skill demands control. In a museum case somewhere, an old double-edged sword rests behind glass. Its tip is chipped. Its surface holds faint lines from long past strikes. Children press their faces close to look. They see a weapon. They see history. What they do not see are the choices made by the hands that held it. Each swing carried hope and risk together. The phrase moved from iron to ink because life kept shaping it. Wealth and loss. Love and pain. Freedom and fear. Every strong force seems to carry its twin. A deep friendship brings trust and the chance of deep hurt. A bold dream brings success for some and failure for others. The sharper the edge, the more care it asks. When you hear someone call something a double-edged sword, you are hearing echoes of battlefields, workshops, stormy seas, and factory floors. You are hearing the breath of a soldier pulling his blade back too fast. You are hearing the crack of a hammer in a dark shop. You are hearing a mother wait at a dock for a ship that may not return. The phrase holds all of that inside it. Your own strengths are no different. A sharp mind can solve hard problems and cut through weak excuses. Used without kindness, it can wound friends. Strong will can push you through fear. It can also make you refuse help when you need it most. The second edge is always there, even when you do not look at it. The same blade that guards your chest can slide back and find your heart. That truth has walked through centuries. It has stood in smoke and salt air in city streets. It does not tell you to drop the sword. It tells you to know it. When a new chance rises in front of you, bright and sharp, hold it with both hands. Look along both edges. Ask what it gives and what it may take. Respect does not weaken power. It guides it. In that careful grip, you turn a double-edged sword from a wild threat into a steady tool. And when you feel the cut of your own choices, remember that people long before you felt the same sting. They learned, adjusted, and tried again. The blade has two sides, but so do you. Wisdom grows in the space between them.
能以非母语者的身份专注学习到现在，这本身就是很棒的进步。真诚感谢你的观看。如果你觉得本期内容实用，点赞或留言让我知道你的想法，这对我持续创作非常重要。我们下期见。